Hey everyone, what's the crack? It's Moza again. They've come out with brand new products, the brand new revised R21. I had the R16 before, never got my hands on the R21. This is the newest version. I've got the newest version of the GS steering wheel, and they even gave me a shaft extension. It's going to be a good one. All right, let's take some of these bits out of the way and let's get straight into the wheelbase here. So direct drive wheelbases are notoriously heavy. This one is no exception. I do have the R16 here as well, and I'll look at that one in a while and kind of compare it, just eyeball it next to this one, see what's different, what's the same. First thing we see in here is a little Moza, it looks like a sticker sheet, and we've got a user manual. In general, unless there's something, important, read first. I generally don't look at the user manual. That's just me, but I'm thinking everybody's kind of the same. We've got some bolts and an Allen key to mount it. I'm going to be base mounting this. We've got a little USB cable here with a ferrite core on it as well, just to try and reduce those magnetic interferences. We've got a... Look at the size of that thing. That is a big, I don't know if it's the biggest power supply we've had. That is a chungus of a power supply. It doesn't actually say the wattage on here. You guys can see here. Usually it says the wattage on here, and that's kind of where I look to see, what kind of a power supply it is. That is a huge, huge power supply though. That's a big brick of a thing. Let's put that off to the side. And then I'd say all that's left in here is going to be our wheelbase. So let's take that out and move this box out of the way. We seem to always get one of these nice presentation bags with the Moza products. One of my criticisms, if you remember my R21 review, the orange, I wasn't really sure of it. It has grown on me a little over time, but whether I have it on my rig long term, I'm not sure. I said I would love to have the black version. The R21 is that black version, and this already, like straight away, that looks very nice. See, I don't mind a little bit of color. There's a little splash of color on here. You can see on the back here, that's a nice little splash of color. It's quite bright. It's got a bit of personality. We can see quite clearly the shape of the motor. It's actually pretty much identical, I think, in form factor to the R16. We see R21 written on the side here, whereas I think the R16 didn't have that. So the middle part is kind of a matte finish, whereas we've got a glossy finish at the side. I kind of like that. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. We also had on the R16, we had a gold shaft here, and it's all black here. So the aesthetics of this, definitely digging that. Now I'm a little bit more boring with my, I'm not sure if the R16 had this groove at the bottom, but it does have the same mounting pattern, which to the best of my recollection is exactly the same as the Fanatec as well. Let's grab the R16 and just put that side by side with that for just a moment. So side by side, we can see that the form factor is almost identical. The shape really hasn't changed. We have all these little grooves on the back. The shaft is a little bit different. One thing that's very noticeable is this is no longer a detachable piece. And we've got a little arrow on here as well. Not sure how well you can see that on the video, but there's a little arrow that allows you to see where the top center is. And one of the big differences, which I have not seen yet, but I can anticipate, is that where the V1 wheelbases all had this single row, we should have some more contact patches on the V2 devices, of which this is one. So there we go. We can see V2, and if we take a quick look at the old GS steering wheel, we can see a single line of these pins in the back of it, and that was for the V1 wheelbases. Now, so 16 Newton meters of torque, 21 Newton meters of torque. Really curious to see what the difference is. Oh, actually, I just noticed one more difference, and a pretty important one, because I already alluded to this. If we look at the front of the R16, we can see there's no way to do any front mounting. But it looks like they've listened to us. And there we go. We can front mount. You can see those holes at the top. Front mount option is now available. So I wonder if that'll actually fit into my front mount. That would be cool, because I do love front mounting wheelbases. I don't like the base mount because it just takes up extra space under the base. So this could be a good solution. We'll see about that. Aesthetically, other than that, I definitely think that the R21 looks far nicer in my opinion. And as I say, this did grow on me over time. The R20 or the R16, it does look a lot nicer now than it did. So let's throw the GS on the R16 here, because they have actually given me a GS V2 for the R21. So very excited about that. Not expecting too many big surprises, but let's have a quick look at this. So let's get the GS V2P steering wheel. I'm not sure what the P stands for. I knew it was the GS V2, but let's see if there are any differences here. So the first thing we get is the little Allen keys and little pads to adjust the shifter intensity. Loads of stickers as well. I generally, just looking at my old one, I don't think I applied any or many stickers, so we'll keep an eye on that. Take this out and we'll get another one of these nice Moza bags. So that's packaged up as usual with this these Moza bags. They're actually quite a nice dust bag if you do have multiple wheels. They are quite handy. What I often end up using them for is for storing little bits like stickers or whatever. They're quite handy for yeah, just keeping stuff away from the elements. Straight away I can see the grips are different, so that's interesting. These are yeah, slightly different. Let's grab the other one and just see what the main differences are. They look pretty much identical. I don't think too much has changed. Even the stickering is quite similar. Yeah, I didn't have any extra stickers on my old one. The directional hats are still kind of those loose directional hats. You don't get that exact direction that you get with a lot of other brands. So I do miss that. I wish that Moza did that, but they're the last ones remaining that have these just really nice. I love these buttons with a little bit of travel on them. If you see that, there's just a little bit of travel on that, and I really like that kind of luxurious feel. I think it's, I don't know, that it must be a personal preference, because companies and people just tend to like that very clicky button. You have it on all the high-end wheels now. Even Simagic used to have these type of wheels, and they've changed, or these type of buttons, they've changed now as well. It seems like there's very little change. The main reason why there's a V2 and a V1, and the grips I know are different. I'm not sure if that's a customizable option, but I showed you this one earlier with the straight line of pins. When we reveal this here, we should see that we have this kind of T shape, or this kind of Tetris shaped. So that means we no longer have wireless communication between the steering wheel and the steering wheel base. So this should just, when that's there, should just click on exactly like that. We can tell there's a little bit of extra weight in that, or maybe the steering wheel is lighter. I don't know. Oh, we can see actually the housing. Now that I look at it, the quick release is smaller, so this one's smaller. I think there's some weight saving. We're going to have to grab a scales here, because I think they've made the V2 a little bit lighter. Now it might just be that quick release that's making the difference. There we go, and let's see what this one is. Let's try to get it all on there. This is 1.614. So that's 1.614. Let's grab the new one. Let's see. 1.528. So that could just be the difference between the quick releases. I don't know. This is a 50mm quick release, whereas this is a 70mm quick release. So that definitely does save a little bit of weight. We can see smaller hardware, and we can see that kind of forged carbon fiber looking. It looks like an injection molded plastic, but it's slightly different. Yeah, this is still a plastic, but that one just looks slightly different. So that's it is slightly lighter, which is a good thing, always a good thing. The lighter the steering wheel, the less turning, the less rotational mass you have, the better that force feedback gets translated to your hands from your wheelbase. So especially with the lower Newton meters of torque, the lighter your steering wheel, the better your force feedback is going to be. If you put a heavy steering wheel on there, it's going to completely numb those forces. That's where a much stronger wheelbase comes into play, like the R21. One last point that I just want to make is that it does allow for the MR display. I think it's the MR it's called. I wasn't a huge fan of that display when I tried it on the Moza R16. I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to see if the software updates have made it a more usable device. Of course, I have the Moza FSR steering wheel as well, so I will be trying that on here. This will be on my rig for the coming weeks, so I'm very excited about that. So I think from a first impressions point of view, that's all we need to know about this new wheelbase. It's all very familiar, but also very new. I love that Moza is innovating. No other product, no other company is innovating as quickly as Moza, as far as I can see. Moza, Asetek, Simagic are just changing the game of sim racing, and Moza are just so quick with iterating with those products. They have no problem making an already great older product, so the GS V1, making that effectively, you know, obsolete. I mean, it's very much the same, and if you have one, there's no need to upgrade. Well, maybe, I don't know. I doubt it that much better. It's slightly lighter and stuff, but I love the way that they move so quickly, and that's a great sign. It's great for the consumers. Let's get this on the rig. I'm still wondering if I'm going to front mount this or base mount it. I don't know if I have a front mount that will fit this, but that is going to be an interesting challenge. And I've spent the last couple of weeks with the Asetek La Prima, which is a 12 Newton meter base and has plenty of torque. So this at 21 needs to really, really deliver in order for me to tell the difference between this and the 12 Newton meter La Prima. This needs to really kind of knock my socks off, because this should be up there with Simagic Alpha, SimiCube, SC2 Pro. It should really be right up there. So my expectations for this are super high. And last but not least, the shaft extension. Can't forget about the shaft extension. That's the thing you guys are so excited about. What's in here? We've got, I think just some, oh, there's an extended cable, which is interesting. I didn't think there'd be much cabling. Okay, so where I thought this would have a contact patch for this, and it would just have another contact patch as well, what it's actually suggesting that you do is remove this little plate, change out this cable, make that a bit longer, and then yeah, that should be all there is to it. So what this will do, and let's just get the orientation right, what this will do when we have that one lined up like that, this should go on here and it should click on. There we go. Clicked on, and then our steering wheel should, that's interesting that the alignment of this is different to the alignment of that. So that is kind of interesting. And then this should just click on here like this. So then we have the shaft extension. For those of you who like to have shaft extensions, maybe have a steering wheel. I love what they've done here though. Look at how thin the shaft is there. It means that you can get that monitor right down onto it, which is very cool. You can't do that here at the base. You can do it here. So you can get the monitor right, you can get your steering wheel almost just in front of your monitor, which I think is a really nice addition. Very clever. I guess they didn't need to be too thick there. And that looks rock solid as well. I can already tell you that's not going to have any flex in it. I'm a great believer in this style of quick release. I think it's great. I think it's still the best quick release out there, even though the Asetek quick release has that third-party compatibility. That's not really the quick release, that's more so the software implementation. This is a really, really nice solution, this NRG style quick release, and I'm just a huge fan of it. So what you can do here is you don't need a separate extension for each steering wheel, which you do need with the Asetek. You don't need that here. So I don't know if I'll be running this because my wheelbase would be sitting quite far away. This does give you other issues, like if you have that little dash on here, this makes it kind of a little bit obsolete. So there's some considerations if you want that extension shaft. How are you going to mount a screen? Will you have to mount that to your monitor then if you want another dash? So it really is for that kind of formula seating position, but it does allow you to get that excellent field of view. So here we are in the rig. Installing it was no problem really. I did have a little bit of an issue with the front mount because I have a front mount plate, but this does not fit your standard SimLab front mount. So that's a bit of a pity. You need a special front mount for that, which is, I was looking forward to mounting that on the front, but look, it is what it is. So I've gone for base mount. Never really liked the base mount too much because it's just a little bit low, a little bit close to my legs. So not the biggest fan of that, and it doesn't look as nice, but I'm able to achieve a relatively good field of view. If I pull this in here, my screens are just touching the top of the wheelbase here. So that's pretty decent. We've got the V2 Moza GS. Let's hook that up here. And we get our little startup sequence, startup lights. And it's got some default colors on here. Let's go into Moza Pithouse here. So right away, this has recognized it. We can see it's the GS V2 steering wheel. And the wheelbase is hooked up here at 40%. It did have to do a little activation and stuff. I just cut that out of this video for you. But let's pump this up to 100, right? We're here for a good time, not for a long time. So let's just go straight to 100 on the torque there. And let's go for we're in a Formula style car. So what's that giving us? 360. Let's just go for GT settings. Maybe. Yeah, that's the same slider I think as this one. Yeah. And maximum wheel speed. I'm not sure. I'm never sure what why does this go to 200? You know, it's if 200 is 100% of its capacity, is 100% only 50. I'm not too keen on these sliders and the way some companies do them. Wheel spring, we definitely don't want any of that. Wheel damper. Let's just, you know what? Let's just go with the default GT. I am gonna pump this up because I want access to that power. Road sensitivity is on 9 out of 10. And advanced settings. I've seen this software quite a lot before with other reviews. I'll have a quick walk through this for you because you may not have seen it, but there are loads of settings in here. One of the cool ones here is this force feedback equalizer, which allows you, if you want ABS, you can just drag this up and down. It's not entirely accurate, but it's pretty good. It's pretty nice. Then you've got a force feedback curve. So that's kind of cool. Not a lot offer this as well. So you can change, you know, when it gives force, will it give high force? I usually leave it on linear. I like linear. And we've got, what else have we got? Soft limit game force strength. We've got some other settings here like hands off protection. So when you take your hands off the wheel, that one's great if you crash or whatever, that it won't hit you. If you are doing drifting or whatever, I advise turning off hands off protection, because otherwise the second you let go of the wheel, it'll think, oh, I'm doing something wrong, and it'll stop. So drifting is actually impossible with the hands off protection active. So do you know what? I'm just going to turn it off. Interesting that the steering wheel inertia gets disabled when you turn off hands off protection. So that's interesting. Natural inertia, wheel friction, speed dependent dampening. I'm going to leave them as they are. They're quite interesting though. Let's launch the game and let's see how the defaults feel. So here we are in the rig. Straight away I can feel quite a lot going on here. I forgot to mention, I glossed over it. In the software you can change the colors of these LEDs and stuff. And I've not assigned a lot of these buttons. So But yeah, that's quite heavy. I mean, that's probably similar to what it might feel like. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. That was too much for me there. I made the mistake of going to 100%. Let's go to my force feedback setting. The whole rig is shaking right now. Whoa. You can hear it in my voice. Whoa, 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 whoa. Holy sh... I'm afraid to move. Okay. I'm going to just take this force feedback in. I'm going to turn that down. Turn it down in game. I usually leave it quite high in the software, like Moza software in this case, so that at least it gives 100% to the game. Sometimes you do need to find more of a balance. But even here, having this down at 60, and I usually have these relatively low. This is a fairly fresh install, so I usually have these around here, and I don't do anything for the ABS. Oh my god, there is some amount of force coming through this. Let's push this off to the side screen, and let's see how this goes. One of the reasons I use this this car is because it's brutal and unforgiving. So let's see how this force feedback behaves here now. I can feel it loading up. The vibration, the detail of the vibration is really nice. Going over the curves, it just feels immensely powerful. I came from the Asetek La Prima, which is an incredible wheelbase with more power than you could possibly need. But man, I don't know, I'm just feeling extra details here, I think. I don't know. Like, I didn't miss anything with the La Prima, so don't quote me on that. But this just feels... It feels like there's a hell of a lot going on, especially on those curves. There's a lot going on. I think that I can do more with how it feels. The general feel is a little bit bland. There's a little bit of lightness over center, but it doesn't... I don't really feel the steering wheel loading up as much as I'd like. And I don't mean force-wise, I just mean range-wise. I mean the differences in forces. So coming through here, I did feel oversteer. I felt it immediately, and I was able to save that slide here. Let's see this little crest here. There is nice feeling for sure. It feels immensely capable. Yeah, lovely details there. I hope you guys could see the details just going over those bumps. Lovely details there. Should be more details here on this back straight. Yeah, you can see them through the steering wheel. That is nice. That's really nice. Okay, maybe I'm just getting a little bit more used to it now. Over these curves. Oh. It is nice. I think, let me take out some of this dampening in Pit House, and let's see. Let's take out some of this wheel damper. But one thing that I love about Moza software is the second you move that slider, you don't have to click save or whatever. Maximum wheel speed, let's go put that to 100. See what happens. Road sensitivity is at 9. So maybe that is the, you know, I said there's a little bit of extra rumble. Let's just turn that down and see if that makes it a bit more natural. We've got wheel friction on here. Maybe just turn that down a little bit. Speed dependent dampening. I had no real issues with the speed and the dampening. You can see the equalizer gets changed a little bit when we change those settings. We've got maximum output. Let's give this a go. Let's give this a go and see. So I've taken away, what I'm looking for right now is just a little bit more. Think of it like, you know when you get a set of speakers and there's a bass boost on there and you're like, oh, this is impressive. It's kind of like the steering wheel was running a bass boost. So there was lots and lots happening, but there was very little clarity. Like the details were nice, but there was very little distinction between things that should give very little subtle amounts of force and stuff that should give more. I can already tell you this feels a lot more natural, and I can, what I was saying about the wheel loading up, I can feel that a lot more now. So maybe taking out some of that dampening did that. Really pushed it through that corner just to see how this will react, and that was nice. It is heavy, the force feedback is heavy. I've done that on purpose. Felt that little bit of a lock up there. I'm just going to force a lock up in this corner as well. Keep an eye on the steering wheel, see what happens. Oh, that is nice. And the recovery from the lock up, very, very nice. Very nice. Oh, on the bumps, on the brakes, that is... I'm noticing details that have always been there that only a high-powered wheelbase can give you. Everybody asks, you know, would you notice the difference if they were running at 10 Newton meters of torque? And really, in a blind test, I don't think I would. But when you do enable that little bit more torque, like I have here at my disposal, you just get, it's like you can feel the tiny things on the track, the tiny little pebbles and bumps and bits of curbs. See how much more natural the curbs are now. I'm not being shaken to bits by those curbs. Oh, this feels really good. This is nice. Really pushing the limits there of the grip to try and see what forces I get through the steering wheel. Understeer is lovely. The ability to recover a slide, and this is a punishing car. Oh, what a time to be alive, guys, when we have hardware like this. And this is not exceptional, guys. This is great hardware, but anything over 15 Newton meters is going to give you these oh wow moments. And this is pretty oh wow. Pay no attention to my driving and going off track. I'm just trying to feel all these forces. Like they are going over that curb. Because the car wasn't loaded on the side of the curb, I felt it less. But when I go to an outside curb, that's, I mean, a settled course is good at that as well, right? But like here, if I go to this outside curb, all the weight is on that side, so I just feel more through the steering wheel. It's little things like that that show that it's not just a canned effect because you're bouncing on something. It shows, it indicates the weight of the car. And when you can get a sense of that balance for the car, like there, absolutely. Ooh, I just caught the inside of the curb there, so the car got launched. But that, like, oh man, look at the vibration going through that steering wheel. That is mad. And how does it? Whoa! You don't want to catch that. You don't want to get in that situation. So the hands-off protection. Actually, I can demo the hands-off protection for you guys. For those of you who don't want to get your hands hammered by something like, by one of these, advanced settings and hands-off protection. Let's turn that on. And here. See the way it stopped? Just completely stopped. So kind of like in a Tesla, the way you have to keep your hands on the wheel or anything with lane protection. It'll start and then it goes, oh, hang on a second. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Maybe not. It didn't fully work there. Maybe that's what that slider's for. Steering wheel inertia. Let's turn that way down. See what happens. Nope. Maybe if we turn up that slider, that won't happen. I don't know. I've never I always have it off. Maybe it just can't tell if my hands are on it because there's so much power going through it. That's interesting. I would have thought hands-off protection there would have made a big difference, but it didn't. Interesting. We'll learn something new every day. Definitely when you're drifting, it makes a big difference. Now this is a very, very light little steering wheel. Also, no, you'll probably have seen this, you know, vibrating a lot and stuff. I have no butt kickers or any other haptic enabled, and I could feel the forces from the steering wheel through the entire rig. And this is a heavy duty rig, so this thing is beefy. This thing is beefy. If you're going for high power, this is a great. If you're looking to upgrade an R12 or even an R16, it's yeah. I'm excited. Let's grab a rally car. So for rally, first thing we're going to do is take the GS off, and we're going to grab our trusty RSV2. Oh, it's still got, so that's funny. I had this on previous wheelbases, and this was my my layout for these were my colors, so I probably just remembered those colors in the steering wheel itself rather than in Moza, which is just an interest in the Pithouse software, which is quite interesting. So these steering wheels are notoriously a lot heavier than the GS. So why I want this to be part of this test is because I want to see how does it translate those forces to a heavier steering wheel with a lot more diameter as well. Because if we look at the GS, it's a lot smaller than this. This is a 330mm steering wheel, so we should have a lot more leverage over it, and potentially we should feel a lot less. Okay, let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Flat left, 50, turn 6 right of a crest, 6 left,
Ooh,
50, flat middle of a crest,
that's loading up
80,
very, very heavy there.
Jump, 50, 4 right narrow.
No, that's
80.
too heavy. It doesn't feel, it feels heavy and slow right now. Now I haven't changed from the setting that I had. Oh, there we go, EAWRC. Oh, it's got one for EAWRC. Let's just keep it on official for now. See what happens. 35 here. Okay. Interesting. Right, let's see how that feels.
Keep middle of a jump, 50, 6 left over jump long, tightens over crest.
The
jump,
forces themselves feel good.
120.
As in the detail feels decent.
Right into 5
I
left
do
long.
definitely want a bit more power though. So let's go here to, I'm on 35, I want it at least at 70.
Narrow over bump.
Oh, that is
Into 6
a
right,
lot.
80. Over long crest into 6 left. Tightens
Oh, that
past
feels
junction,
alright though.
30. 4 right, narrow over crest. Don't cut 5 left. Opens long into 6 left. 30. 4 right long.
Oh, that
tightens
does
over
feel
crest,
good.
50.
Oh, pardon my driving, that's a tree. It's okay, I meant it.
Don't cut 4 left.
Concentrating on
Into 6
the
right.
on the force feedback too much. Let's go again.
Into 6 left long. 30.
So feeling nice.
6 right of a crest. Opens extra
Nice
long.
physics here now.
Into slow.
Hopefully there'll be
6
some
left
tighter
long,
corners
bump.
as well,
Into
where
3
we can
right of a
feel it.
crest, bump.
Just forgive my driving.
Into
We're
4 left
driving
long,
here
into
this week,
turn,
so I
open
kind of
right.
need some practice.
Opens long.
Probably not
tarmac.
the smartest putting new hardware on
Cut through bales.
right before we have to
Keep
do
right
our
of a
event,
30,
but
turn, 1 right.
that's all part of the life of
Opens
being
over
a
crest,
reviewer.
gravel.
One right.
50. 5
Right,
left.
let's.
Into flat right of a crest. Opens long. Tightens of a jump. Into 5 left. of a
Yeah,
crest,
I can
tightens
feel the
very
car
long,
sliding
into
quite
6
nicely.
Right, 50.
Yeah,
4
any
right,
limitations
extra
that
long,
were.
Opens flat of a crest. Into 6 left.
I'm sorry. Let me restart this stage here. Any limitations that I'm feeling are definitely just because of my driving. As I say, we're driving here this week.
3,
I need to do some
2,
practice,
1, go.
especially with the new hardware.
50, turn 6 right of a crest.
Let's try and give it
6
a
left,
bit of a better
50,
go now.
Flat middle of a crest, 80. Keep
So
middle
there's
of
a
jump,
nice amount of weight.
50,
I do
4
think
right
so. This is
narrow,
Dirt Rally 2. My
80,
community league
keep middle of a jump,
is
50,
driving here this
6
week.
left of a jump long, tight
We do EAWRC as well. If this week was EAWRC, I'd be using that to test it. But there's a nice amount of loading of the steering wheel. There is a bit of a jolt when I hit things, but that is, you know, to be expected.
30, 4 right, narrow over crest. Don't cut 5 left, opens long into 6 left. 30, 4 right long,
6 left.
over
Like
crest. 50.
the car does feel really good.
Don't cut 4 left into 6
Quite
right,
a pointy car.
into 6 left long. 30.
And even though this is a
6
very
right over
heavy
crest,
steering wheel,
opens extra long.
because the Moza
into
steering
slow,
wheels are quite
6
heavy,
left long over bump.
it's
Into
having
3 right
no
over crest,
problem
bump.
throwing it around.
Into 4 left long, into turn 1 right. Opens long, tarmac. Don't cut through bales.
One right.
Keep right over 30, turn 1 right.
Not much understeer, but there's not much understeer feeling
50,
in Dirt Rally
5
in
left.
general.
Into flat right over
EAWRC
crest.
is definitely better
Opens
for that.
long, tightens over jump. Into 5 left over crest. Tightens
Yeah,
very long,
huge
into
amount.
6
Oh,
right.
did you see that?
50,
Huge amount of power on show anyway.
4 right, extra long.
It feels good.
Opens flat over crest. Into 6
Definitely
left.
feels good. Very
Into 6
intuitive.
right.
Nothing
Into caution, 5 left
to
over
really
jump. 50.
be
6
concerned
left,
about.
very long.
One
Tightens over
thing
bump.
of
50.
note, whenever if you are
4 right
using
long.
Dirt Rally 2, you probably know at this stage, but if you ever add a new
Into
steering
slow,
wheel,
6 left over
by
crest,
default it'll
30,
give you a
turn
20%
1
dead
left.
zone.
Don't
So I
cut.
just, before I cut it out of here, but I just went into settings, I just cut out that 20% dead zone. But that feels nice. I'm actually quite happy with that. So there we go. The GS and the RS V2 feel really good on this. Love that quick release. As much as I love the Asetek quick release, this one that the Simagic and Moza have is just, it's more rewarding, if that makes sense. It just, I love the concept of clicking that on. I love that clunk. It just feels motorsport to me. The clicking it down onto it that Asetek does, even though that's a fantastic quick release, don't get me wrong, this just captures my heart. And I'm not sure why. I just really love this NRG style quick release. What to say about this, guys? There is power galore on tap. There's plenty of power on tap here. It's a lovely wheelbase. I love the black styling. The black styling is nicer than the orange of the R16. So I could see myself running this, you know, long term. I love these rims as well. Moza does a cracking job. I've got the FSR here. I've got the Moza KS as well, and they're just all really nice rims. The round ones are a little bit heavy, but also really good. So yeah, I'm trying to find things that, you know, I could be constructive about, as in, you know, something negative, but it's a really good experience, guys. I love these buttons. The 7-way hats, I don't like the way they don't have a definitive click. Never like that about Moza. So if you click up, it's kind of like moving like an analog stick on a PlayStation. There's no actual click. Whereas if I'm cycling through menus or whatever, I'd like that click rather than the noise of the hard stop at the end. So that's a big thing. The rotaries don't click down. The thumb encoders do click down. And thumb encoders are actually really good. Clutch paddles are always really good. There's not much difference between this and the V1. We've got a kind of a forged carbon style effect on the rear plastic housing, and we've got the different quick release, smaller quick release, and the no wireless communication. Or it doesn't communicate wirelessly with the base because we've got extra pins on offer here, and it communicates that way. So it's a full V2 system. If you hear Moza V2, that's what that means. It means it doesn't rely on wireless anymore. Yeah, it's incredible. It's really nice. Moza is just getting better and better. I had the R16. I liked it. I saw it had potential, like in the early days. I waited with my long-term review, and there will be a long-term review of this as well. I love doing my long-term review because, especially with the R16, it wasn't great at the start. They released all these updates, listened to our feedback, which was amazing. I love when companies do that. And hey presto, they made a hell of a product. The R16 is great. This is even better. This is savage, absolutely savage. If I was told that this was going to be my forever wheelbase, I'd be very happy. The difference between these wheelbases is so small at this level. When you're at this level, the difference is so small. I would go with the one with the nicest wheels, the ones that you like the most, or the ones that have the buttons in the right places, or whatever. Regards feeling, as I say, once you go over 15 Newton meters, it's very, very hard to find flaws in the force feedback. Some are more suited to certain, styles of driving. Like I know that Moza is good at drifting. Simagic is excellent at drifting. Asetek is not quite there yet when it comes to drifting. Rally is okay, but they could be, Asetek could be better, and they will be better. Asetek is relatively new. Moza has it a little bit more nailed. Simagic has it absolutely nailed. That kind of steer with the rear type of front wheel, being conscious of which ways the front wheel are pointing and the speed of the wheel. Simagic does that very, very well. Moza does it very well as well. And I have drifted and can drift with all three. So there's no real issue there. I'm just trying to find those little fine details that people ask me for a lot. For now, I will be using this on my live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 o'clock UK and Irish time. So if you have any questions in the meantime, ask me. I can pretty categorically say that I know which way this review is going. Unless this thing blows up and goes into smoke, if you're considering buying this, just buy it. It is savage. And I hope that little bit of a comparison between the brands gave you some bit of an indication. I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed with this, unless their expectations are unrealistic. If they put them next to the competitors, I don't think they'll be able to tell the difference, or it all depends on settings, but it seems there are loads of settings on tap here, and you can set it up whatever way you like. You saw during this video, I was able to play with those settings really nicely. It's very inviting to do that, so I really appreciate that as well. So that is my first impressions of the R21. I'll see you on Tuesdays or Thursdays. For now, I'm Lawrence, and I'll chat to you later.